Hello, you with Tanisha Ali, Tanisha's Locks, Beauty Tips and Potpourri. We're doing the second set of facts about Sisterlocks, 26 through 50. I'm seeing 3 that I didn't go over last time. I'm going to mention them. At least I don't think I did. But I'm going to move quickly through them. One of them was that you can retighten yourself. You don't have to be dependent on a loctician. The other one is that your hair is going to grow unevenly. It's going to grow very unevenly. Certain sections are going to grow faster than the others, and you'll perceive that very early on. And the other thing is that each lock will have a personality of its own. They're like children. No 2 locks are alike. And you will grow to love your babies. Okay, 26. This is really important. Your retightenings should not hurt, nor should they make your hair sore. Ask me how long it took me to realize this, because I was in that brainwashed mindset from having individual braids, where the more it hurt, the tighter your scalp was, the better you thought you were. If your retightenings hurt, that means that your loctician is doing one of 2 things. She's either rushing and pulling your hair and snapping strands, or she's retightening them too much. And I know this for a lot of reasons, because I have 2 different locticians. I mentioned to you guys before, I get different results with both. And then this last time when I retightened all my locks myself, I didn't have one sore lock, and I got them close to my scalp as ever, but I was taking my time. So if they hurt, you need to have a talk with your loctician. Always use natural ingredients. Just because you're using natural ingredients doesn't mean to overdo it. For example, if you have areas of your hair that are kind of thin, or you're trying to grow certain areas so you can add a lock, like right in here I was growing this area so that I could turn this into a lock, and I'm using castor oil. You still don't want to overdo it, because too much natural oil in your hair can still create issues with buildup. Too concentrated essential oils can create allergies and sensitivities. So please, if you have not watched my How to Mix Essential Oils video, there are 2 of them. I think the second one is on my Butterfly Transformations channel. So I'm going to try to see if I can't find a way to get it over to this channel, because that's the one that helps you understand a little bit more about proportions and dilution values. Next, if you want to give your hair an extra boost, especially during the summer months, because that's when growth tends to take place more, your hair is not as much in a resting phase, or in the winter because your hair is in a resting phase and you want to promote growth, take B12, folic acid, and biotin. The 3 of those together with lots of water will give you additional length. It will grow your hair out a lot more. And if you're using the Miracle Grow oil that I have made on the channel, you're going to have even better results. This next one, I think I already mentioned this in a way, but I'm going to say it again. The more products you use on your hair, whether it's conditioners, which we already talked about, you really shouldn't be using conditioners, but some people use oils as conditioners. The more products you put on your hair, the more your hair will be a magnet for lint. Not to say that you can't get the lint out, that you can't prevent it by washing it frequently and by, lock brushing your hair and so forth. But just know that as you put products on your hair, you increase the magnetism of the lint. Fact number 30. On average, typical reties take 3 to 5 hours. Now, why is that important? Well, it's important because if you're somebody that doesn't like to sit still or you think that maintaining your locks is not going to take a lot of work, you don't feel like you can be consistent, Sisterlocks may not be for you. I'm going to say on average 6 to 8 weeks, you have to get a retightening. For those of us who go a little longer, 10 to 11 weeks, you still got to get a retightening. You still have to be willing to sit down and let somebody do your hair for you. If you're doing it for yourself, it's going to take a little bit longer. You're going to need additional time. Next, you see people with locks, they wear them up like this, which is fine because technically I wouldn't be pulling this too tight. I would just hold the hair in here and pull the sides. And I would put a barrette right here. So I'm really not pulling it that tight. But you'll see people who plait thick cornrows and braids, and every time you see them, their hair is being pulled and they have it in a different style. My caveat to you is be careful of the styling stress. Styling stress is just that, baby. It's stressful to your strands. If you notice, before you had your locks, when you used to wear a ponytail every day, you tended to have shorter hair on the sides and you tended to have shorter hair back here. Because your hair is rubbing up against your collar, that's stress. And because you're pulling here, that's stress. That's the thing that causes locks to grow faster because they're less exposed to stress. So watch out for all the styling. Be creative, but go easy on your babies. Next, your Sisterlocks should not feel heavy, even as they get longer. Now, do I feel a little weight? I feel a little weight, I think, because I'm conscious of the fact that they're longer. And I probably do have a few ounces of weight, but it's not heavy like traditional locks. Your hair should not feel heavy. If it feels heavy, then you probably have a lot of product buildup. Or your locks may be larger than traditional Sisterlocks. They shouldn't feel heavy and they shouldn't be stressful to your neck or to your vertebrae. Now, are they going to be a pain in the butt as they get longer? And when you're in bed at night, you know, I have to do my hair like this and then lay on the pillow so that it's not all down my back. Yeah, they get to be a pain. I was actually thinking about cutting them last month. I'm like, you know, I'm tired of this. And they were scratching my back and, you know, I have issues with the neck vertebrae anyway from a couple of accidents I had way back in my 20s. So I'm very sensitive in that area. But on the whole, they should not be heavy. Number 33. If you work out a lot and your scalp gets wet with sweat, and you tend to be one of those people who feels like you have to rinse your hair or you have to shampoo it quite often, and you're wondering what kind of impact that can have on your hair or if it's going to cause some drying out, what I'm going to say is make an antibiotic spray from essential oils. You can use a little bit of clove, you can use a little bit of cinnamon, or you can just use a little bit of lavender. You can use a little bit of rosemary, or you can just use a little bit of thyme, whichever oil that you like that has antibiotic properties. Add that 2 or 3 drops to some water, shake it up really well, and mist your hair. That will deal with any germs, any bacteria, or any mold that can grow from a damp scalp. You don't have to always resort to washing it if you don't want. By the way, if you're wondering what I'm eating, I'm eating zigni. Zigni is an Ethiopian dish that you cook for hours. It's got tons of onions, so it smells really bad when you're cooking it, which is why you cook it outside. But it is the best. It's so good. It smells up the whole house when you heat it up, though. But if you're the type of person who's open and you believe that you were born in another life to another race of international beings, then this is going to be good. I'm all done. You're not supposed to eat it like this. You're supposed to eat it with injera. I have gluten issues and I don't feel like dealing with any aching joints today, so I'm just eating it by itself. Next, number 34. To limit lint, do 3 things. Sleep with a satin cap. Shake your hair out. Finger comb it once or twice a day, like a religion. And use a lock brush. And actually go through and brush your hair very gently. You will see all kinds of fibers come off your hair. You can't see them, but I can see them everywhere right now. You're a living thing. Your hair will get lint, but there are some things that you can do to minimize it. And those are the 3 things that I'm just sharing with you right now. Next, number 35. You will never have a bad hair day. No. Gone are the bad hair days. Gone are the days where you need to worry about humidity or whether or not it's sleeting, snowing, or hailing outside. Those are no longer your concerns, my child. You needn't worry about those things. If you carry an umbrella, give it to the Salvation Army. You won't need it anymore. I can't remember the last time I used an umbrella. You remember those days when it would rain, you'd see black women running through the parking lot? Ah! I mean, it was kind of crazy in a way because white people would look and they would be like, what's going on with them? And when they would do that, you'd know they didn't have any black people in their family, or their sons or daughters were not dating black people, because if so, they would know that we didn't want to get our hair wet because of all the time we spent with the straightening comb or with the curling iron, and the rain was going to mess it up. Well, honey, welcome to the club. You don't have to worry about that anymore. Fact number 36. You may be hard-pressed to find a decent shower cap, especially as they grow. Who did they make these shower caps for? Even when your hair is short, the shower cap is so little for most heads, especially if you have a big head like mine. The shower cap only comes to here. What is that? I have to end up using a Walmart bag and wrapping a Walmart bag and tying it here on my head just to get adequate coverage. Plan ahead of time because your hair is going to grow fast, especially if you use my Miracle Grow. Get a big shower cap. Shop for the jumbo caps on Amazon. A few of them are going to come in. They're going to look great, but they're not going to last. The elastic within them is going to loosen up. Then you'll find some caps that are so tight around your head. They do great coverage here, and it comes all the way out here, but it's so tight around your head you get a headache, and you can't even imagine showering with it for even 5 minutes. So take some time, experiment with some different shower caps, and find the one that's right for you. More than not, you're not going to be able to locate it in your local beauty supply store. Mark my words. Tip number 37. You will get more compliments than you ever have in your life. People will come up to you from all walks of life and will compliment you on your hair. You will become a living spectacle. People will walk up to you wherever you are. They will want to touch your hair. Don't get offended if they want to touch your hair. It's okay, because they're giving you love and energy of admiration. They might want to touch your hair. So for those of you who are touch-me-nots, try not to get too upset about that, because 9 times out of 10, they may touch your hair before they ask, okay? People will be in awe of these. They also can't figure out what they are. They know they look kind of like traditional locks, but on the other hand, they don't. They know they may look like individuals, but on the other hand, they don't. So they're fascinated by these. Don't let that throw you off. Just get used to the beauty and feel blessed. Number 38. You will experience abundance in hair like you never have before. You will finally be able to dispel the myths, that black hair does not grow as fast as other types of hair. There was no greater misperception, misunderstanding, misdeed in spreading that around miss all of those things. It is just simply not true. Our hair grows as fast as other ethnic groups. The issue is that while our hair is growing, we are breaking it down through excess styling, through excess water that is robbing our hair of its natural oils, through heat styling, through chemicals, and the like. Your hair will grow as fast, if not faster, than your Caucasian and Asian counterparts. I know mine does. My hair is growing faster than anybody I know, black people included. Again, I attribute that to my Miracle Grow. Look at the video. So you will experience the abundance of hair. And you will get to a point where you realize it never had anything to do about the length. It only had to do about this and about this. When your hair starts growing and you realize you want to cut it, and that coveted hair, that coveted length that you sought all of your life is no longer something that is ruling your life, you will feel free. And you will be free. Number 39. Oh, number 40. That's number 40. Well, number 39. Although we tend to believe that Sisterlocks are expensive, let's say they cost a lot rather than saying they're expensive. Expensive is more of a particular predisposition to judgment. Because if something is expensive, we feel like it's not worth it, right? They do cost a lot in terms of what other hair services cost. So we can look at that objectively. But if you feel they're expensive or they cost a lot, keep telling yourself that this is your way to pour back into the black community and to allow our dollar to circulate more than one time. We are the only ethnic group that does not cycle our dollar in our community more than one time. And with the $95 million or trillion dollar, not trillion, million dollars that black people spend on hair care products, and that could be a little bit off, but the percentage is not, in terms of the fact that it's disproportionately, we spend, while we may represent 12, 13, 14% of the population, we spend over 70% of our discretionary income on beauty supplies and hair related purchases. So look at your Sisterlocks as a way to support your community. And if you find yourself feeling some kind of way in your heart because you feel it's expensive, dispel that thought and affirm truth and reestablish a healthier mindset and tell yourself, you know what? At least I'm giving this to my sister and my brother instead of taking it up the street to the beauty supply store where I know it's definitely not going to circulate in my community. All right. Next but not least, number 40. You will experience slippage at different times in your hair and bulging or matting or whatever they want to call it. But most of the slippage that happens will happen around this area. Most of the matting and bulging that happens will happen around the back. And I'm going to show you because there's some locks I'm going to do. When I show you what I pulled out of my hair the other day, you will be shocked. Okay, I'm going to show you a crazy one that I have been postponing dealing with that needs to be dealt with. I deal with it all the time. You see this? You can tell I dealt with it because it's thin, which means I took the whole bottom out. It was thicker than this here. It was all matted up and fat. And I've yet to come back in and resolve it, which I'm going to. All right? But slippage, now I just put these two locks in. I took a lock like this and separated it into two locks. Felt it was too fat. Would like to separate that one too. And I separated it into these two. Now, if you look at this one, this will give you a great indication of what my hair did when I first locked it. All of my hair did this. It curled up. It looked cute. I thought I was the joint. Let me tell you. And then they started doing this. And I was like, oh my God, Tanisha, what made you think it was going to stay like this forever? I would have traded in these for the plucked chicken look. This one, as you can see, has gotten a knot here. I hated these knots. I hated them, especially when they were fat. These were some of the ones I took out. But this one, last week was slipping. This here was way down here. And it wasn't because of new growth. This here was way down here. It wasn't because of new growth. And then from the bottom, it started opening. So I had to go in and tighten it back up to here. And then I had to come in at the bottom and tighten this up. That's what slippage is like. It can mimic new growth, but it's not new growth. The lock is actually slipping out, or the pattern is actually slipping. Next, number 41. When you go to get your retightenings, to preserve the integrity of your hair and its health, my suggestion is that you go through and that you separate your locks. It's as quick as like this. It's as easy as this. Why? Because locks become married into other locks. And as your loctician is doing your hair, she does not have x-ray vision, nor does she have the patience of Job to go through each of your beauty strands and coddle them like this before she actually does them. Let's face it, that would take her an extra hour and a half. And who has that time? She's got several other clients to do. So she's going to be raking through your head, not with neglectful disregard, but nonetheless with disregard for your tender areas. So why not save yourself? You see how clean my scalp is? You see this? I haven't washed my hair in about 4 weeks. You see how clean it is? You see how healthy my scalp is? That's why I'm telling you, do what I do and your locks will be healthy. So go through and just separate them one by one. Let your babies know that they are loved. You can do this in less than 30 minutes before you get your hair relocked. And it's going to pay in the long run. And if you have a lot of tangling and you have really curly hair, then do this too before you wash it. It'll pay off in the end. Because once you wash it, sometimes your hair, depending upon your type of curl, sometimes that will relax the tangle and make it easier. For other people, it makes the hair stretch so they pull it more, and as a result, it pops. So you determine what works best for you. Number 42. Always wash your hair prior to a retie. My consultants never even offered to wash my hair, so I never realized that retightening was a part of, that washing was a part of retightening until I started watching the channel. So I always had to wash mine anyway. But the key here is that wash your hair prior to a retie if your loctician doesn't normally wash your hair, because if not, you're going to be tightening dirty hair. And whatever is residual in your hair closest to your scalp, it's going to become a part of your lock, and you don't want that. Number 43. I already said this, but the longer your hair is, the more tedious it is to sleep. Okay? Because if you're not using the cap every night, this stuff, as you turn over and move, you realize, because this is pulling underneath your arm, so you have to lift your head and go that way. Making love to your husband, he grabs your hair, he does something, and you're like, So, it can get to be kind of a pain. You put it up here, you got a big knot, your head is not straight. If you put it up here like this tends to work better. But usually we don't always do this. So just notice that with the length and the abundance and the beauty comes a few inconveniences. Whoever said being beautiful is easy, right, ladies? Next, number 44. Do use a lock brush. And it's not a particular brush that's called a lock brush necessarily. It is a brush that you have chosen with natural fibers that is fat like this and very soft that you use to brush your locks. Some people say it's not healthy. I'm going to make a video explaining to you why it is a good thing to do. But for the purposes of number 47, I'm just going to tell you that using a lock brush very gently on your locks helps to dislodge buildup. Okay? When you have buildup in your locks that you cannot see, whether it be oil or other things, lint is attracted to it like a magnet. So to minimize that, use a lock brush, but use it very gently on your hair. Next but not least, number 45. You will definitely experience more freedom with your locks and less time overall spent on hair. When you consider, and I consider myself, I was Jack be nimble. I could get up in the morning, face be made up in 3 minutes because I wasn't doing full face, but even now I'm less than 5 minutes. I don't play in the morning. Hair be curled. A lot of times I use a curling iron. I didn't always roll up. So hair be curled, looking like something, looking like I spent an hour and a half getting ready in the morning when I spent maybe 7 minutes, 3 or 4 minutes in the shower. I'm dressed and ready to go. But most people, I think, even me, if you consider that 8, 9, 10 minutes times 7 days a week, that's 70 minutes. Even me, and multiply that by 3, 210 minutes by the average amount of time it can take just your typical person to get ready in the morning. A lot of women stand in the mirror, they spend at least 15, 20 minutes making their face. Then they have to style their hair and so forth and so on. Regardless, those couple of retightenings or the retightening that you may get every 8 weeks or more is not going to take as much time as the daily styling and the amount of time that you may spend generally in the mirror getting yourself presentable every morning. So the Sisterlocks style is very freeing. It will save you time. You wake up. Some mornings I don't even have to do mine. Some mornings I may just take a little bit of oil and do like this. Do like this. Hell, I'm ready to go. Who can tell that I didn't comb my hair? Can you? So it's quick, low maintenance. Number 46. And in line with that, not only will you spend less time, you will spend less money. So those people who say Sisterlocks are so expensive, those people tend to be the type of people, not the cost. We know the cost is a lot to lay down, but over the long haul, you recover more than your investment. Those people who tend to say that haven't really looked at the amount of money that they're already spending on their hair. Most black women, according to statistics, if their hair is not natural, and even those who have natural hair, they spend money on products and barrettes and jewelry and stuff like that. But let's take them out of the equation. Let's just deal with those sisters that may wear wigs or may get their hair braided or who may use hair weaves, extensions, anything like that. By the time you buy that Retie hair, usually 2 packs at a minimum, because you're not getting that much. They tend to be making those packs smaller and smaller. By the time you buy that glue, by the time you buy that thread, or whatever it is you're using to put it in, by the time you pay that person to put it in, by the time you buy the products to maintain the part of your hair that you're blending in, all of that stuff, it adds up. And if you don't want to look ratchet, which is what's going to happen if you don't get it touched up at least after 4 to 6 weeks, if the hair is anything like what I remember it looking, it gets jacked up. I don't care if they say it's tangle free or not. It tangles and it looks matted. It looks crazy. You have to maintain that. And the money that you take to maintain that and all the products that you use on that hair, the washing, the conditioning, and everything that you're doing, over the long haul is going to cost you more than Sisterlocks. Even if you're getting your retightenings done frequently, like every 8 weeks, which to me is frequent, you figure if you're spending $130, and $130, based on what I hear you ladies say on the channel, seems high. I pay $130, I tip her $10 to $15. So you figure I'm paying $145, $150. I pay the other $125, I always tip her $10. But even if I just paid the $125 and the $130, I'm only doing that almost like every 3 months. So multiply that by 4. And even if I was paying $150, I'm still only paying $600. And if I add another one in there, if I go every 11 weeks, I'm still only paying $750 for the whole year. Now look at what you're spending on your cell phone, your cable bill. Some of you people are enslaved to Comcast and AT&T Uverse. Some of you spending over $100-something a month on your phone bill. I only spend $45 on mine, and I have Verizon, and I do not play. I do not go over $45, and I have unlimited messages, unlimited talk, and 15 gigs of data, which you would be hard pressed to use. I believe in honoring my money, and you should too. You should be looking for ways that you can cut those costs and experience a greater amount of savings for your pocketbook. So this is a hairstyle that over the long haul is going to be cheaper for you. If you get individuals, if you get a weave, you're going to be so-called retightening or redoing or touching up even more. If you get a relaxer, the relaxer all by itself is $80 today for 1 hour. For 1 hour, 2 hour visit. Not to mention if you're dying. So trust me, most of you are spending well in excess of $750 a year on your hair. So Sisterlocks are very economical. So when you look at the price tag, don't look at the money you put down when you get them done. Look at how your investment pays off over time. Look at the return on your investment. Next, I mentioned this already. Don't put conditioners in your hair. Some people do deep conditioning treatments, but when I say conditioners, I'm talking about, remember how you used to want to put the avocado on your regular locks, your regular hair before you got locks, or you might want to put the egg protein wash and all that stuff? It's time out for that. Don't put mayo on your hair. Don't put avocado on your hair. Don't put honey on your hair. Don't put any of that baby on your hair. 48. This is pretty important. When you wash your hair, especially during the summertime. During the summertime, we have a tendency to let our hair go wet and dry naturally, but sometimes we keep it up in a ponytail so it doesn't fully get enough air and dry out. Before it totally dries, you can actually develop mildew and mold. Mildew and mold is the last thing that you want in your locks. It's the last thing you want in your locks. It's the second to last, it's the third to last, it's the fourth to last. You do not want a stench in your locks. You don't want fungus. You don't want mildew. You don't want anything growing in your locks. You don't want anything that you can see under a microscope in your locks. So fully allow them to air out and dry. If you don't use a blow dryer, or some of you may start your blow drying and then let it finish drying naturally, which is usually what I do because my hair is so thick and it swells, it holds so much water. For me to wait for it to air dry, I would be wet going to work, my bed would be wet, my floor would be wet, hair would be dripping everywhere, and I don't have that time. So usually what I'll do, which is one of the reasons why I braid and band, is it helps me to control the amount of water saturation. And when it's time for me to dry my hair out, I don't suggest you do like this in the beginning. But once they lock, you can do this. It's not going to harm you. People say, don't twist, your hair's going to fall out. Don't do this, don't do that, guys. Do I look like my hair fell out? No. But again, I don't want you to be irresponsible. Listen to the people that you trust. If you trust yourself, listen to yourself. Because then you have nobody to answer to but yourself. Next on the list, this one I cannot read, but I believe it says, wow, I can't read that one. I will tell you this, 48, when you get Sisterlocks, you will be part of a sisterhood and a community. Now, this doesn't mean that we think we're better than anyone. Granted, there are probably some Sisterlockers running around out there who are sedity, who do think they're better than other people. I'm not talking about those people. I myself don't want to be associated with those type of people who are that transparent, who are that shallow, who are that superficial. But I'm talking about when you see another sister out there that has these, you feel like you can go up to her and have a conversation. You already have a rapport. You have established some familiarity with each other on another level besides just these. So they become more approachable and you already are starting out sharing something. It's beautiful. Not to mention the communities that exist on the internet and in other places that you go. So there's something about being a part of a sisterhood that is a little different. For example, remember there was a time, those of you who are old as me, remember there was a time where you could go somewhere, and because typically you didn't see many black people, when you saw someone black, it was like you two locked eyes and you felt the sisterhood or the brotherhood, right? Well, that kind of cultural glue doesn't exist the way it used to. Not in my mind. You can go places now and the other black person won't even look at you. They'll act like they don't even see you, or it's just the color line has become more and more invisible, which has its advantages, don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is with Sisterlocks, it's like what that used to be. When you see a sister with Sisterlocks, you feel like you got something in common. Or it doesn't have to be Sisterlocks. It can be anybody in the lock community, whether they have traditional locks or Microlocks or anything like that. You feel a kindredness. See, I feel like all of you guys are my kindred spirits on this channel, especially those of you who reach out to me and comment. I'm like, those are my sisters, you know, like we share something in common. Next, 49. The no worry elements. That's what I wrote, but I don't know what I meant to be saying. But I guess I'm saying when you have these locks, it's a no worry hairstyle. You don't have to worry about products. You don't have to worry about the weather. You don't have to worry about if your hair is going to look good. You don't have any more bad hair days. It is a point in time in your life where you can really be free to focus on other things. And when it frees you up initially, you're going to really see the dichotomy. You're going to see the difference between how much time you were spending on your hair before and how little time you spend now. And it'll get to the point where you'll start to take it for granted. Now, I can't speak for those sisters who took out their locks and are now rocking other styles, but I wonder if they might not say now they miss the ease of preparation when they had their Sisterlocks. I know that regardless of what they're doing now, with the exception of other traditional locks and so forth, they probably miss the carefree days of not having to worry about their locks. Last but not least, number 50. We made it to 50, guys. We made it to the finish line. We's home now, Miss Sophia. We's home. There is a lot involved to getting the Sisterlocks, okay? You have to shop adequately for a consultant. Do not take that process for granted. Do not take for granted that you can get everything you need in terms of information from the Sisterlocks website. From the moment that you decide to get Sisterlocks, you're going to have to invest some time. In the middle of your journey, you will invest time in maintenance, okay? You will also invest time in maintaining the overall health of your hair. You cannot just get these and then sit your ass down somewhere, be trifling and lazy, and not do anything with your locks. If it weren't for a shame, I would show you some pictures of some folks that have done that, and you will see the difference. But I don't want to step on any toes, and who am I to judge anyway? Everybody's different, and one man's trash is another man's treasure. But I will tell you that this is not the style for people who don't want to do anything. But at the same token, it's a matter of perspective. It's a mindset. It doesn't take that much. Hell, you have to brush your teeth every day. You have to wash your butt. If you can't take them a few minutes to check into your head, which is the crown and glory of your physical appearance, not because your hair is everything, but because it's the one thing everybody definitely sees. And it's on top of your head for the whole world to see unless you cover it. If you don't want to take the time to maintain that, maybe you just need to cut it off altogether. But if you're going to have it, do take care of it. This is your spiritual wealth. You have inherited all of your ancestors' DNA in these beautiful tresses. These tresses carry your trauma, they carry your wins, they carry your triumphs, they carry your journey through life. This is your transgenerational goal. So take care of your locks. You're with Tanisha Ali. Tanesia's Locks, beauty tips and potpourri. I hope that you benefited from this video. Much love to you, my sisters. Much love to you. Oh, if you're watching this video, for those of you who are interested in getting your money right, clearing yourself of your money blocks, and beginning to heal those aspects of your perhaps dysfunctional money habits, go and check out my website, butterflytransformations.com. I help women get unstuck and get back in control of not only their finances, but their passion and purpose, their lives. For those women out there who want to feel fulfilled, who know that somehow they feel separated from not only their personal fulfillment, but owning their greatness, and you're ready to do the things in your life that you need to do in order to take your life to the next level and up-level it, or to take your life in the direction that you feel from a heart perspective you're supposed to be going in. Give me a call and set up a GAC, which is a Get Acquainted call, which is on my site. We call a discovery call. Set up a call. Give me a buzz, and let's talk about how we can create the necessary partnership or synergy to help you get your life exactly where you know it's supposed to be. I'm Tanesia Ali, Butterfly Transformations, Tanesia's Locks, beauty tips and potpourri. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully there's something in this video that you resonate with that can make a difference in your life. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. You could have been doing anything else. I'm sending love.